Welcome to my channel. Today we are diving deep 1944 D Lincoln Wheat Penny. The 1944 D Lincoln Wheat Penny looks like just another brown coin in your pocket change. But what if I told you that one tiny detail on this seemingly ordinary cent could make it worth thousands of dollars? Most people glance at the date, maybe notice the wheat stalks, and toss it aside. But there's something hiding in plain sight, something only sharp-eyed collectors know to search for. And once you see it, you'll never look at pennies the same way again. It all begins with the D mint mark beneath the year 1944. This tells us the coin was struck at the Denver Mint. Now, 1944 was right in the middle of World War II, and the U.S. Mint was pumping out coins fast to keep up with the wartime economy. That rush led to mistakes that today are worth a small fortune. Let's talk numbers. In its most valuable form, a 1944 D Lincoln penny struck on a steel planchet by mistake is one of the rarest modern errors known. Only a few are confirmed to exist, and one recently sold for over $115,000 at auction. That's right, 6 figures for a 1-cent piece. The U.S. had stopped using steel planchets after 1943, but a few slipped through in 1944. If you happen to have one, it'll be magnetic and lighter in color. But even without errors, this coin holds value. A regular 1944 D penny in mint condition, graded MS 67 plus red, has sold for $3,290. That's nearly $3.5 grand just for having it in pristine condition. A slightly lower grade like MS 66 red still fetches around $225 to $300, while a nice MS 65 red brings $50 to $80. And even circulated examples aren't worthless. If your 1944 D penny is an XF45 grade, it can still be worth $1 to $2, and that climbs with better eye appeal or full wheat stock details. Now here's the part most collectors miss. Look closely at the mint mark. Is it doubled? Is it repunched? There are rare RPMs, repunched mint marks, where the D was stamped more than once in slightly different positions. These can add $5 to $50 or more, depending on the clarity and condition. But the real crown jewel is spotting a steel planchet 1944 D. Hold it to a magnet. If it sticks, don't let it out of your sight. You might just be holding a life-changing coin. So next time you come across an old wheat penny, don't rush past it. The 1944 D Lincoln Wheat Penny may look common, but its secrets, hidden in metal, mint marks, and mistakes, hold the key to a completely new lifestyle. The 1953 D Lincoln Penny might be sitting in your jar right now, forgotten, common-looking, and worn by time. But buried in its copper shell is a potential windfall, and few collectors know what to look for. One small detail, one overlooked variation, can turn this ordinary coin into a rare treasure worth thousands. And I'm going to walk you through exactly how to spot it, step by step. This coin was struck at the Denver Mint, marked by that tiny D beneath the date. Over 700 million of these were produced, so most people ignore them, thinking they're worthless. But some of those coins carry hidden traits, errors and high-grade conditions that make all the difference. Let's start at the top. A 1953 D penny graded MS 67 red by PCGS once sold for $7,475. That's right, nearly $8,000 for a coin most people wouldn't give a second glance. The reason? That grade means it's in mint state, virtually untouched, with original copper luster glowing red, just as it did the day it left the Denver Mint. Flawless strike, razor-sharp details, no distracting marks or discoloration. That's what collectors pay huge premiums for. Now go one step lower. MS 66 red, still eye-catching and brilliant. These can fetch anywhere from $150 to $300, depending on eye appeal and market demand. A little wear or a few small nicks. You're in MS 65 red territory, and even that can be worth $40 to $75. Still far more than face value. But there's another layer that makes this coin exciting. Errors. Some 1953 D cents show RPMs or repunched mint marks. This happens when the D was punched into the die more than once, slightly offset. To the untrained eye, it looks like a blurry or doubled D. But collectors go wild for these, especially if the doubling is dramatic. One example of a strong RPM in high grade sold for over $250, even without a top-tier mint state rating. And then there are off-center strikes, clipped planchets, and die cracks. An off-center 1953 D penny, say 15% off but still showing the full date and mint mark, could bring in $100 or more, depending on condition. Even a circulated 1953 D penny can be worth something. In XF, extra fine, condition, where most details are sharp and Lincoln's coat still shows lines, it might be worth $1 to $3. Not life-changing, but it all adds up if you have rolls.so. How do you tell if your 1953 D penny is a winner? First, check the color. Red is the most valuable, then red-brown, and finally brown. Red pennies shine with their original copper glow. Next, look at condition. Is Lincoln's jawline sharp? Are the wheat stalks on the back fully defined? That's a good sign. Then grab a magnifier and inspect the mint mark. Look for signs of doubling, separation, or unusual shape. If you spot an error, don't clean the coin, get it graded, because the truth is, what looks like a 1-cent coin in your hand could be hiding a story. A story of perfect preservation, a rare minting mistake, or simply being in the right place at the right time. And for collectors who know where to look, the 1953 D penny holds the key to a completely new lifestyle. The 1956 Lincoln wheat penny with a D mint mark might sit quietly in your collection, dismissed as just another common coin. But don't let its plain appearance fool you. This coin could be hiding secrets that transform it from pocket change into a small fortune. And if you've ever passed over one of these thinking it wasn't worth a second glance, you might want to take another look. Because the details I'm about to share could change everything. It starts with a tiny letter, D, stamped just beneath the date. That letter tells us this coin was struck at the Denver Mint, which produced over 1.09 billion of these pennies. So yes, in circulated condition, it's a common coin, often worth just a few cents. But that's not the whole story. Because in rare cases, these pennies were struck with such unusual flaws or preserved in such pristine condition that their value skyrockets into the hundreds, even thousands, of dollars. Let's talk about what truly sets the valuable 1956 D wheat pennies apart. The top of the list is great. A coin graded MS67 plus red by PCGS can fetch as much as $7,000 or more at auction. That's because it's not just about being shiny. These are coins that have survived nearly 70 years without a single scratch, handled with white gloves, stored in airtight holders, and passed down like treasure. In MS66 red, the value drops but still holds strong. Expect around $400 to $600. Even at MS65 red, you're still looking at $100 to $150. But now comes the twist. Errors point. One of the most sought-after varieties is the 1956 DRPM. That's a repunched mint mark. In this variety, the Denver D was stamped more than once, creating a slight doubling effect visible under magnification. Some show strong doubling, others more subtle. Collectors love these, and depending on condition, these can sell for $50 to $300 or even more. The stronger the doubling, the higher the demand, but there's more. Some 1956 D pennies show signs of die clashes, off-center strikes, or even struck through grease errors, where part of the design is missing due to a clogged die. These oddities are rare but thrilling when found, and collectors pay a premium. Values for these minting mishaps vary, but $100 to $500 is common for well-preserved examples with clear, dramatic flaws. Now, here's where the magic happens. Most people never check their old wheat pennies this closely. They toss them into jars, sell them in bulk, or give them away, never knowing they held a prize. But the trained eye sees what others miss. Deep red luster, clean fields, sharp details in Lincoln's coat, and most importantly, that tiny mint mark, slightly doubled or perfectly struck, untouched by time. The next time you spot a 1956 D penny, don't walk past it. Don't assume it's worthless. Tilt it under the light. Check for that red shimmer. Look closely at the mint mark. And if it feels special, trust your gut and get it graded. Because that little coin, quietly sitting in a drawer or resting in a forgotten roll, holds the key to a completely new lifestyle.